two different types of slaves. You know, you had the field slave, and you also had the house slave. And so we also had an incredible following in the house slave. Those, for the most part, were of lighter complexion, and those were the products of cohabitating between the slave owner and the slaves themselves. And so we had a group of folks that were emerging as leaders, and they literally connected with the field slaves, and together they devised strategies. And so in October in Jamaica, when we celebrate National Heroes Day, we celebrate a plethora, a variety, diverse group of men and women that literally determined the course of Jamaica.
You went pretty fast there for a moment. Now the relationship between the field people and house slaves. In America, we have a term called Willie Lynch, where an alleged slave owner devised a method to divide the light-skinned people from the dark-skinned people, and the European features from the African features, so on and so forth, so that one group would feel superior or inferior to the other. Why didn't that happen there? Because, I mean, that happens, the Willie Lynch mindset happens not just with Europeans, with Arabic people, all over the world. There's always been a division by skin color. How did you all avoid that?
I think while the slave owner literally did everything possible to separate the people, Jamaica was, it seemed as if we were a little different. And so our mindset has always been out of many, one people. And so that became our motto as a nation. In fact, it still is. And I know we also use that here in America as well. But the Jamaican psyche is one of unity, and we believe that the moment you are of African descent, then you are from the motherland. We also had key leaders that were dark-skinned. You know, think about, say, the Marcus Garveys, the Michael Manleys, the Alexander Bustamante, the Hugh Shearers. When you think about these individuals, some were of a light complexion and some were of a dark complexion. And so when you have leaders and you have people that represent who you are, that tends to give you a sense of, if he can do it or if she can do it, then maybe I can do it. So Jamaica did not lack having good leadership in representing all the classes. Hence, we didn't have what you had in South Africa. You remember the apartheid situation, you know, where you had all the classes, or even in India, you have the caste system. In Jamaica, the moment you are of African descent, and even though the color of your skin may be slightly different, even the texture of your hair might be a little different, we see you as one person created in the image of God, and out of many, we're still one people.
So how did history become so important for you to know?
History became very important for us because as a nation, we have taught our kids in school. In fact, the moment you go to basic school, you study a little book that is called The Making of the West Indies. And so even in kindergarten or elementary, or what we call basic school, you are taught the basics of what happened in Africa when our people were being taken across the Middle Passage. We saw at a very young age, the way the slaves were packaged in transporting them from Africa to Jamaica and to other places in the West Indies, as well as the United States of America. And so those images have been riveted in the minds of the young Jamaican student. And so we start, first of all, by teaching the truth about what happened in the slave trade. At the same time, we're also taught that not only were the Europeans the ones that we should be concerned with, but even the very Africans who sold us out of their own sense of greed. And so we are taught that at a very, very young age. Now, as we have moved in our understanding of what happened in slavery, we have also been taught as to what it takes now to overcome the mindset that was taught to us. And so as a young boy, I can think, going into middle school and then going into high school, when our teachers, and many were light-skinned, many were dark-skinned, and many were from the Anglican Church, the Church of England, and as we were taught, we were also told that we are the masters of our fate. Music was also another important thing for us. Do you remember Bob Marley? You remember Bob Marley's song, Redemption song? He says, "Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds." And so we are taught that at a very young age. My first day in middle school or high school, because middle school and high school are one in Jamaica. My first day, we were all gathered as boys. I went to a boys' school, and we were taught a Latin phrase, "Fortis cadere, cedere non potest." And we were taught that phrase, "Fortis cadere, cedere non potest." And that phrase was repeated over and over. And then I remember our principal, Mr. Bruce, he said, "Boys, those words will become the mantra for your life." And here's the translation: "The brave may fall, but never yield. The brave may fall, but never give up." And so at a very young age, middle school, high school age, we were taught that it doesn't matter what the situations are, or even what other people would say, or even what the powers that be says, that because we are of African descent and we have survived everything that slavery had to offer, then we are now going to take lessons from the past, understand who we are in the present, come up with a vision of the future, and we're going to call upon our community to provide the support and the resources that we need, and we're going to go forward and make the world a better place. Those are the things I have been taught as a young man in Kingston, Jamaica.